Welcome to another episode of Peers Over Beers, your favorite digital and social evangelist podcast, with your industry veteran hosts, Michael Sandoval and Chris Tetzel. This podcast starts now. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Peers Over Beers. I'm one of your hosts, Michael Sandoval.
And again, I'm the second host, Christopher Detzel.
When I do this, sometimes in post production, I hear the first part. I think I giggle every episode.
You do.
After you
Every single one. It's funny.
So one of the very interesting things.
That's part of it, though, right? Like it's just, hey, Michael has this.
Yeah, it's my thing. Here goes my giggling again.
Yeah, he has this giggle.
I use that term giggle. I don't know why it's so funny. So just as we started, we were talking about. You all know that Chris is an avid runner, and he was giving me tips on how to run. Which, that'll never happen. But
no. But maybe walk. Maybe go out in the woods and do some hiking. Or bike riding. Maybe buy a bike.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. No. Actually, I've been doing a lot of spinning, to be very frank.
Good.
Yeah, and you're like, well, you can just take the spin bike and put it outside. Yeah, no, I get it.
But it gets hot outside. I get it.
It really does. But I have been working that spin bike, and I have to admit, it is very good. I feel stronger. It's amazing how your large muscles quickly catch up. I mean, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is. I mean, just do a little bit of exercise, man. It just you start feeling better too. Hopefully.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. It's because the COVID. I mean, I literally got the COVID-19. Like,
yeah.
You did 19 pounds. No, I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm sorry. The 19 pounds. Sorry.
Got it.
Yeah.
I've gained a little bit of weight.
You gain the COVID-19. Everyone in my family. I mean, it's just not me. It's generally everybody's whinging about. I have got to get back on the. So we did it from the beginning of the year, and it's finally just paying off. But boy, it takes a while to get off the.
Oh yeah.
Your body just wants to stay at rest all day.
Yeah, and once you get in a groove, it starts getting easier. But once you stop again, because you have to start again, that's always the harder part, right?
Yeah. So we're thinking about today. So here's a challenge that was presented to me, right?
Yeah.
It's not a challenge yet, but I heard it and I was like, "Ooh, how can I wedge myself in here?" And part of it is, one of the things I'm trying to do is to figure out how to transition our support, which has been very like old school support, which is you phone in or you email.
Wait, what was the first part?
You phone. Yeah, I know exactly something.
Phone,
yeah,
a telephone.
Yeah, yeah, telephone, not even a mobile phone.
All right.
Total side note. I don't think I've ever had a landline in any of the homes I've owned.
I have on a few homes I've owned. But
yeah, I mean, I think I bought my first home in like 2003, but I don't think anyway, that's a total aside, but yeah, you're right. I mean, the whole telephone thing is a passing, but the thing I'm trying to figure out, so we have an old phone system in which when you call
yeah, no. Go ahead.
It's the talkie apparatus that rings.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. So we have a centralized call support organization, and of course they get traditional calls that are coming in. Is wondering how. So we're looking at upgrading it, changing it, doing the whole thing, and of course I want to get in there and say, how can we integrate some low touch, no touch elements to this? And I don't know if I'm just brainstorming like what possibilities. So I actually have a. It's funny to see the email that came from our IT department and I don't say it's funny. They're great people. It's just, I think it's just, they're just coming from their own frame of thought. But like my brain wants to go to things like, how do I integrate that with like a chat functionality? How do I integrate
That's exactly where my mind was going.
How do I integrate that with, a online community perspective? How do you, and my first thought is you should also talk to a customer where they want to speak with you. So they called on the phone. Clearly they want to talk to you on the phone. there's value in hearing a real
Well,
person.
if that's the only place they have to go, then they have no choice. But let's be honest, they call you on the phone because at the moment, for you, that's all they have, right?
That is also true. That is a they're very, very good points. We had talked about this idea of call abatement strategy back when we used to work together, and I've talked about that here too. Like, how do you? The way I talk about it is that someone getting on the phone with us is a cost.
Mhm.
That's someone's time physically managing through that, right? And maybe I should just think about this a different way and look at it from how can we do things. And this sounds terrible. I don't mean this is in a bad way, but how can I move people in such a way that calling is the last resort, if that makes sense, right? But even if that being said, what are some tactics that you could drive just from a phone system, automated phone system, from a let's just call it a request for proposal (RFP), where that's a valuable thing, right? So, um, some sort of level of integration with some system, right? That's in my head. Like, how do I
I
how
think
do I integrate that
I
system?
think one is sometimes you just have to. So I always like how you think way ahead, right? For you, but there's small problems that you can solve today. So how do you get here, way over, you know, a year away? I mean, you're a year away from that, right?
Mm,
But how do you make these kind of incremental? One is, yeah, I mean, there's some tactical kinds of things, but also strategic, further looking. Unfortunately, it's that far off in my mind. Maybe it's not, um, but one is, you know what a lot of these banks do and others, they just hide the phone number and they just they have support, and you have support articles and all those kinds of things, and the phone number's almost freaking impossible to find unless you do a Google search. It's nowhere on their page. What's what's this bank's number? you know, so
yeah,
I'm not saying you frustrate them, but you create. I'm not saying that's a good tactic or strategy because some people do want that phone number, but you know, I think one, you start kind of looking at, the basics. Do you have these easy answers to these questions that are being asked over and over somewhere? If not, post it on a page somewhere, like frequently asked questions. That's pretty easy, you know? And you start doing, and then you put it on that not at the homepage, but you put it somewhere on under support or something. Click on support, and there's a whole page under support. It's one that's that's a quick question or that's a quick thing to solve, right? And then, you can start thinking about chat and introducing chat function. I guarantee you, chat will be used way more than you think, and then that chat function becomes part of, the call center's um, way of helping customers. And we've done this. We've done it at, in Germany. Everybody does it. Like if you look at Reltio.com or Imperva.com or any of those e-commerce sites, they have chat. So bringing that, introducing that, and not necessarily having the phone number the first place that people can go to get help. It's support. Need help? It's this one page. And then you start thinking about how do you integrate that? So how can you do these easy things right now? And then start kind of doing that.
yeah.
That's what I would do.
No, yeah, you're having my brain kind of go in a. You can see me kind of like, oh, okay, that's interesting. So right away, I want to start going to whiteboard because really this is about support experience,
Yeah.
right? So, and then you start thinking about, well, what kind of problems are they calling about, and then how can I mitigate those things, right? So, and then so that's one, and two, I'm thinking about myself. So if I have to physically phone somebody, I'm kind of already pissed. I think I've already said, like,
Yeah, of course.
I'm upset that I couldn't solve my own problem. But I'm thinking about, so clearly there's an interaction with that individual who's going to be great. But I'm even thinking about, so on the let me just kind of see if I can formulate my words correctly. But so I physically call. Hopefully, it's a great experience, and maybe I don't know if there's systems that follow up. For example, a CRM system that says thank you very much for your call. Usually, it goes to a rating, and I really never answer those things. But if you you said, hey, your conversation was about you know better loan rates or something like that. Here are some helpful links to the community
Hmm.
I'm just thinking like here's some helpful
Yeah,
links that may be valuable
some
for
automated
you,
stuff.
like a little automated thing. Maybe in my head I'm thinking more like you type you type some notes of the call and then that searches and then it kind of pulls some automated like three links from a community and it sends those to the customer at the end as a follow-up.
Yeah.
So in other words, you're not physically doing the search, but it's just searching based on what you sent,
Well, I
to
mean, it
do something
seems
like
like
that.
there would be some call center technology that does all that. You
Yeah, and
know.
there's call center technology that kind of integrates chat too. But
Yeah.
it's like remember buying a VCR and a TV combo. Remember this for a while? There was like a VCR TV combo for a while.
Loved it back then.
Yeah, back then. But then the VCR would die, and all you had was a damn TV.
Yeah. It
And then you had
was,
to buy VCR for the VCR TV.
yeah. Exactly. You had a separate VCR.
Yeah, and to be very frank, the VCR inside that VCR TV combo was not the best VCR.
No.
No, they shortened. They made the of course not. It's not. It's just a very expensive part of the
How
component.
about the double VCR? Anyways.
Well, that too. Whenever we used to dub, oh my god, I'm dating myself. Anyway, that being said, some of these phone companies have a built-in chat functionality,
Yep.
but it's not the best chat functionality at all. And not and some of the big chat guys don't necessarily want you to integrate with anything that's off their platform. That's a bit of a conundrum. I remember when we were looking at chat, Live Person was one of them, and there's some other ones. They were great from a chat perspective, but they did poor with regards to phone integration
Yeah.
because it doesn't make sense. Like, why would you integrate with a phone? That just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I think you have a lot of technology decisions to make, over time. So I think for you it's a little bit more challenging. But and also if you're looking at building community, then there's a potential community technology thing that you have to worry about too, right? So you know that's I think that's the key is finding those technologies that can integrate into each other really well, or you know uh, find a call center technology that can help center call whatever it's called thing that has either robust APIs or that has a good enough chat. You know, I mean,
Well, I mean,
what kinds of things do you want to do that chat won't be able to do? I mean, I don't really. I mean,
no, yeah, no, no. This is me just kind of thinking broad, right? I mean,
yeah,
what I've noticed also on chat technology. I don't know if you've seen the same thing, and why I feel this is very part of our charter because community is even though that's a big part of what we think about, it really is about support experience. And I've been very big about if you can provide a customer with a great support experience, they will come back again.
yeah,
And think about the times that you have been upset at whatever. You just think about your last time you had to run in with a company. And you search and you look and you're like, oh, bless it. I've got to go physically call them, right? And you're upset. But you know what? They solve your problem. You had a good experience. You feel like you were taken care of. And you're like, oh, these guys actually made it good, right? They
yeah,
they helped me out, right? And then you're kind of like, oh, I'm going to go back again. And it reinforces your loyalty to that brand. I'm a very big advocate of creating a really good support experience. And I see community as part of that pillar. In fact, I see it as one of the major pillars for providing that good support experience. But you have to look at the experience overall and note that community is not the only way they're going to come in and look for help.
yeah.
Right?
That's
It's
right.
going to be outreaching through. We had a lot of stuff, right? In both in post and pre purchase, right? On the pre purchase side, we've talked about this before, right? How does outreaching to customers in the pre-purchase when you read reviews or you look at forum posts about telling about this product and the goodness that comes from there is going to drive a sale. And then on the backside of the sale, if you're having a problem and you have that great experience, they're just going to like, I have reinforced what I already researched, right? And so that's why I'm kind of really thinking about it.
Well, I think community experience is somewhat different, right? Like for e-commerce, you know, you have to have some of that self-help built in, right? Like how do I I mean, adding to your cart shouldn't be a problem, but I mean, these little things that will nudge, that will get the information to them quickly and those kinds of things. Those questions are a little bit different than, especially if they're trying to buy something, or get something, a loan or whatever, can something pop up, so that experience and self-help experience is probably different than a post sell to where, hey, I need to know something about my checking account or my savings. Can I do this? Or what does the app do this? You know what I mean? Like just different. It's a different experience though.
Well, have you gotten into it? I mean, I know you're thinking about. I know you're really maniacally focused on getting your community out the door, but
Yeah.
as that kind of rolls out, have you thought about how this integrates into the current support system at Realtio? Um,
Been talking a lot about that.
hmm,
So um, in the beginning, it's just getting quick wins. So for example, for us, the different support channels are um, creating a case, right? So you have these are all post sales opportunities. Creating a case. Um, Also, within the support channels, they also have KB articles, knowledge base articles that the support people will write up. So you know, embedding community links at first directly uh, into that technology, and that technology is called uh, Zendesk. So, and
oh yeah, a lot
then
of people use Zendesk. Yeah, actually,
yeah,
it's pretty good.
yeah, it's got its own community. It's not really great community, but it still has one. Interesting enough. And then also within the product. So how do we? That's where we're going to get most of our traffic, to be honest with you. And so how do we? We're a SaaS product, so anytime somebody opens up the or logs in, community should be on the forefront somewhere, right? Hey, you need help? Build, or at least a link to community. So these are some of the short wins I'll get, and then also community on the homepage of reltio.com and those things for help, and on the support page, of reltio.com.
Hmm.
And then there'll be some stuff around our academy that, hey, you want to engage in our community, do that. So those are kind of the what I call wins. We also have now a free product, and that's so people can come in, log in, and start using it for free up to a certain amount. Does that make sense? So those aren't paying customers, but they're potential customers. And also adding community links and maybe even embed and my ultimate goal is, can we push an RSS feed out to some pieces of that product, depending on if it's matching rules or data quality or I don't know, whatever, wherever they are in the journey, to kind of push those things up. I'm not there yet, and I haven't even. I mean, I have some ideas and thoughts, but first things first. Can we do the simple shit? And so seriously, like, can we add a link to the goddamn support portal or to the main homepage, or like, can we
Yeah,
do those first?
I'm actually looking at the site, and don't mind me peeking onto your Realtio site.
It's fine.
And you're right, in the header, you don't have the support messaging. Uh,
Yeah, it's under you know
it's in the footer.
well, it's in the footer, but it's also embedded into resources. So you can click
Oh,
on,
resource. Didn't even think about resources.
oh yeah, in the documentation areas. Oh no, that one's under customer. So then you'll see support, and then resources has, resources, documentation, Realty Academy. So it's not, look, it's not well organized, at the moment. Now I think they're making some changes, luckily, um, to that site. So community over time, I saw kind of some mock-ups because I've been pushing the marketing team to add community, and he showed me these mock-ups. It's a little bit better. Now that's their, as Marion would say, or I don't know if it was Devashish said it first, and then Marion said it one time, because
One of our colleagues we used to work with in Germany,
yeah,
Marion. Yeah.
that's their pile of shit that they have to deal with, right? So
I
I
love the Germans. That's exactly correct.
that's their pile of shit. I don't, I can't deal with that. They have to. That's what they get paid for, right?
Yeah.
So, I'm not going to judge. They have other things to do. Yes, I think our realtr.com site has some work that they can go do, but we all do. So, and my goal is to put community at the forefront of it. Anyways,
Yeah, no. As you should. I mean, don't get me wrong. As I kind of look at it, I mean, you have a great opportunity from almost like a white paper, like business cases perspective of how you can you're taking a current, let's face it, just by looking at it, it looks like it's just uh, they're pushing the sale,
Yeah.
and in a sense, what you could do is almost increase loyalty and return purchase by selling support. And when I mean selling, I know is making that a larger pillar of part of your product, right? Making it, and maybe the sell isn't getting community to help a customer, but it's about adding a new competitive advantage on the reason why someone should choose Realtio as a product.
Yeah, because of our community.
Yeah, exactly correct. But I mean, just the support path overall, you're kind of covering everything, and you bring that up to this forefront. You are driving a very robust support experience, pulling that up under, you have your documentation, you have your KBase and other stuff. And that is something you can go to market with, and telling customers, not only do we have a great product, but by God, let's check out our support. This is what you get. Anyway, I just found that just looking at the site, I was like, "Ooh, what a great uh, use case! A great,
Yeah.
great thing
Well,
to do."
it's kind of going back to, you know, the 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 vision is something I always say on these podcasts, but also in anybody that wants to listen, is this digital self-help customer experience. How do we make that entire support mesh together in a sense to where the customer doesn't have to go to 20 sites or whatever, wherever they are, they find the information. So, it'd be really good to have kind of this support area if they log into, uh, and then whatever they type in, either communities comes up or documentation comes up or whatever, support KB articles comes up, clicks on it, takes them to the right technology, logs them in directly, and they're already in and they get the information that they need quickly. So creating that experience at the end of the day is a big goal of mine at Reltio. It was a big goal over at Imperva.
Mm,
I learned all of that stuff in a sense from you, um, believe it or not. So
mm,
when I made it happen at Imperva, when I
mm.
left, all they had to do was turn it on, and they did, like, a month later. I
Oh
worked
no, joke,
hard
really?
for. Yeah. You
Huh?
go to it now, if you go to docs.imperva.com
Yeah,
and you do a search on, let's say, dam, on the
yeah.
left-hand side, you'll see documentation or community. Click on community, and you see all community articles, right?
Mm.
Um, and then if you log into their support portal, which you have to log in, um, it's even a better experience to where whenever you just start typing, you start seeing, stuff, content. And then you could also have the experience of community or just documentations or all, and then click on it and it will log you in directly to the community,
Mm.
just from SSO. And so I built part of that from a community standpoint and integrated community into all of that. I will
Yeah,
do
you set
that.
that foundation up so they can go execute on it. And you're
Yeah, I
saying when
mean,
you leave a company, they do the things you want them to do.
well, we did it. It was there. They just had to turn it on, like in January they turned it on.
Mm.
Um, but it was just they had to delay for whatever reasons. But you know, it's that experience. It's very difficult to do, and it costs money, and it really does take a head of a person to kind of manage that. So
Yeah, no, I agree. I think just as a community manager, I think the more as I know we get day to day, we are thinking about driving engagement, increasing member activity, driving membership, and getting Kickstarter. It's a lot to think about, right? But just keeping our colleagues and even just at the forefront of really what this is driving a better customer support experience that's going to drive
yes,
revenue and loyalty. And the better you can market that and show it as a product, it's not just an instant. I mean, this is, trust me, this helps drive value to your brand. And the quicker you realize that and kind of embrace it, the quicker you'll win. But we should just keep that in mind on us as community managers.
no, I think that's exactly right. And we have to, unfortunately, we have to drive it for whatever reason. Nobody else in the organization is thinking about this. They're just thinking
No,
about
I know. Well,
they're
it's
just
because
thinking about their support stuff or their academy stuff or their documentation. They're creating content just for that. And I'm like, I'm doing that for community, but for some reason, nobody seems well, let's say this. Maybe people are thinking about it, but nobody wants to own it. Right. So that's
no,
the hard
that's
thing to do.
probably better stated. That's
You know.
probably better stated. No one, yeah, no one wants to own it. Well, it's a good thing that you came on board.
Yeah, it is. It's gonna happen, dude. You'll see.
Well, yeah, and I think what's I'm sorry, I mean yell at you, Mike, but I think what's cool is that sometimes you need a catalyst for someone to jump on board, right? And
Yeah.
yeah,
I think we're close already. We're
mm.
close, but first I have
That's
to
awesome.
build this community, and then May or June I'll be talking to my boss about it to see. Might be an opportunity. Let's call it an opportunity for me. So
Just like I had to tell one of the folks who works for me that had to go talk to an angry customer. I said, I have got an opportunity of success for you.
yeah, exactly. Well,
That's too funny. Well, Chris, I know we started off talking about call centers, but it all just winds up in just making sure that we have a really good support function. I actually appreciate walking, just kind of talking through some of that process. It just reinvigorates a little bit of what where I'm thinking is to help my call center team is just to build a really good call abatement strategy, and I think
yeah,
that's
you got to
the real
start
part of it.
small, Michael. I mean, you get these people just to write down some basic Q&A that's already, being asked daily, and it's not put anywhere, just in somebody's head. Let's put that down on paper. That's a great question. How do I do this? Great. Copy that down and put the answer. Great. Copy, put answer. You know what? Now we're going to publish this to the website. And that's where you start, something like
Yeah.
that.
Oh, very good.
So
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I kind of agree with you. But as always, sir, thank you so very much for a wonderful podcast. As always, I enjoy our chit chat, and I'm
me
one of
too.
your hosts, Michael Sandoval.
And again, I'm the other host, Chris Detzel.
All right, Chris, thank you very much. Talk to you later.
All right.